for dinner tonight, Mary? Well, sweet potato burgers. I still haven't figured out if I like sweet potato yet. I feel like you're right. I mean, when I was a kid, my mom used to always make sweet potato pies. That was like her main thing. Well, I mean, around the holidays anyway. And I never liked them. But I think the reason that I like them is because I'm not a big fan of pies. I don't like the filling to crust ratio in pies. I really like bread a lot. And I feel like having like this much filling and then like this much pie crust was never a thing. Never a thing that I enjoyed as a kid. So maybe it wasn't anything wrong with the sweet potatoes, but rather something wrong with the ratio in which I was eating it. But since sweet potato pies, I really haven't had sweet potato anything. Usually when I go to a restaurant, they give me an option for sweet potato fries versus normal fries. I just kind of go with normal fries. was also kind of running on a little sleepy yesterday or 2 days ago, Liana, and it was horrible because I forgot what it feels like to just be actually fighting sleep on the train, like being on the train and like feel myself. I'm never really afraid I'm gonna miss my stop because I mean there's not really that much of a penalty. I'll waste some extra time coming back the other direction, but that just hasn't been a problem for me in a really long time. I haven't really fallen asleep on the subway unintentionally in a very long time. It's usually because I want to. Wow, that's so interesting. What was that song? That's not the right chord. If you guys remember from yesterday's stream, I did show like a little thing that I was making. I think that was yesterday's stream. Maybe it was the day before yesterday. I showed a pattern and loop that I'd come up with that was surrounding that melody. Oh, there it is. That's what it is. And then I was coming up with a chorus for that song last night, and what I had tentatively landed on were these chords. Of course, I wanted to not necessarily play it in that slow, demure thing. Something like that. Then, see, it's too low. Oh, the street sweeper's here. Hello, Cyber. Hope you're having a good day. I can't sleep on subways. Says someone. Says Alvin. Because I know what people do on subways. Says Alvin. What do people do on subways, Alvin? Maybe if I didn't go down even lower. Maybe if it was like. I guess it's unnecessary. R.I.P. to Curry House, indeed, Cyber, indeed. You know what's interesting, Kid James? I have folded so many different chord progressions of um, into the intro of Reflection Pool, and I think I finally settled on that one because sometimes I'll come up with chord progressions that work really well. They're really pretty, but they kind of don't go anywhere. Um, Kind of like the intro to Winter It was really really fun, but it didn't go anywhere, so I had to add it to what is now the verses of. Mm. Let me move my blinds so the sun isn't just directly in it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was just coming up with a bunch of different chord progressions to fold into the intro of this song, but I finally landed on these. Winter Heart has a really extended, like kind of a long intro, but sometimes chords and melodies, at least when I come up with them, they serve better as an intro or an outro to something because they don't lend themselves to fun repetition. They're just like slightly too complicated. And this chord progression. It sounds like it's going somewhere because the entire time it never really. I guess that's a resolution. That's not really. And then it gets into reflection. Anyways, guys, this song is called Reflection Pool. Oh, thanks, kid. How many chords would you like, Cyber? I'm trying to end more songs like that. I have a video. Hi, Sarah. The most recent video that I posted was of me playing Clover Salad, and I end Clover Salad on a chord like that now. Um, oh my god, what? A spider? I do love spiders. I haven't seen any in my home in a while though. It's kind of sad. I'm sure they're around here somewhere. Clover Salad is a very short song. Maybe I'm gonna use Clover Salad to open the streams. I never know what song exactly. Hello, Cause. I never know what song to open the streams with. I used to use Reflection Pool, but I don't play Reflection Pool unless Kit's in the stream now. So I need to come up with a song to open it, and I thought Clover Salad would be a good one. The only reason I have against Clover Salad being the intro song is because it's actually kind of complicated, and sometimes if I'm just starting the stream and I'm still a little rusty, um, I'll mess up on that song a lot. And I don't want every single time I play Clover Salad to be riddled with mistakes. Nighttime show? I hear it. I see it. I gotta time that out to see how long that is. I know it's under 2 minutes though because I put it on Instagram. The entirety of the song I think fit on Instagram. It might be under a minute depending on the speed at which I play it. Anyways, I think I saw Leona in here. This song's called Double Lutz. I'm so hungry. Usually it's around the end of the stream that I get hungry. But I am famished. There's no Bojangles in LA. Yeah, that's kind of sad. Whoa. Sam, you released an album? Congratulations. Hmm. I'm using DistroKid, but they didn't accept the remix, so as of right now, it's just oh. Word up, Sam. Releasing music can be nerve wracking sometimes, so congrats to you on being able to do that. You should make an extended version of the. Oh, hold on. Sorry, the comments disappear after a few seconds, so I kind of have to wait for somebody else to say something to finish reading a comment. I apologize about this. This is the same way it works on Periscope. For a past few streams, I actually had a little monitor. I would just have my laptop down here in the stream so that I could read stuff. I'm probably going to start doing that a little bit more often because I don't want to inconvenience anybody else by making them have to repeat themselves or simply keep up a conversation just so I can read. But you ask, no, you say, amazing music. You should make an extended version of the How to Make a Beat in 2 Minutes. I love that song so much. It says Gatornade. Do you think you'll pick it up on me? Oh, I don't realize. I don't know what you guys were talking about. Zaria, I'm sorry, I missed that. Whatever conversation you're referring to. Really quick though, the Gatornade. Gatornade, have you heard my mixtape Lush Stream by any chance, Gatornade? By any chance of luck, have you heard my remix to Daedalus's Detroit? Or have you heard my mixtape Lush Stream? While you're answering that, Usaria, what game are you talking about? Or movie or anime or what? Animaniac, and I don't know how to feel about that. Ugh, Cyber. I wouldn't feel very good about that, but I mean, anime's a touchy subject, I guess, for me. No, I have not, says Gatornade. Gatornade. I made, Hollow Knight sequel, Silk Song. Am I going to play it? I don't know, Usaria. I'm going to get to that in a minute, though, but really quickly to Gatornade. Really quickly to Gatornade. I made a mixtape of songs like that one. The video that you're talking about, How to Make a Beat in 2 Minutes, was just me making like a very, very simple, like lo-fi type beat, or lo-fi inspired beat where I sampled my own piano playing. If you want to hear music like that, I recommend that you actually listen to my mixtape Lush Stream. It has 33 songs on it, which sounds like a lot, but it's because it was all made, each song was made in roughly, not 2 minutes for every single one, but each of them were made very quickly in that style, in that lo-fi style. So if you were looking for an extended version of the song, the specific song from that YouTube channel, that does not exist on my Spotify or anything right now. But if you're looking for music like that, which I have made a lot, please listen to Lush Stream. That's probably the best home for those types of beats. For Usaria asking about Hollow Knight's sequel, Silk Song, I might get it, but here's the thing. When I played Hollow Knight, it was very good, and I liked it a lot. It was overwhelming, and boy was I whelmed. But it's a very deep and very rich game. It has a lot of lore in it, and after I stopped playing it, I just haven't really returned to it. And so all of the lore, I feel like I would just have to read a wiki article that's like a CVS receipt length long, just to like re-up on all of the stuff that is going to matter to me in the game before I play the sequel, regardless of chronologically where the sequel exists, whether it's before, after, or during. I just feel like there's so much packed into that game, so much that I've forgotten. It would be kind of like if they made a direct sequel to like a Dark Souls game. It's just a lot. And so, will I play it? I would like to play it because I did like the gameplay in that game. But I feel like that's one of those games that I appreciate 10 to 20 times more when I'm really invested and involved and knowledgeable of the story and what's actually happening with the characters and the world they're in. And I just don't know that I have that level of time right now or any time coming up super soon to dedicate to that. But yes, I would like to play that game just because I like Hollow Knight, the first one. What was your favorite song off of Lush Stream? Somebody asks. I assume you're asking me. I don't really have any favorites of anything. All those songs are like my babies. It's like asking what your favorite child is. I don't know. I made them all, and I love them all, and I was very into all of them as I was making them and releasing them. But I will say, since there's 32 tracks on the mixtape, I don't know that I can name all 33 of them right now. But if I heard them, I know I just fall in love with them again. Um, However, even though I can't give you a very clear answer to the question that you've asked me, which is what my favorite track from West Stream is, I can say some that I like, and what for what reasons I like them. I don't know how familiar you are with the mixtape, but there's a track on it called Groom Cake that sounds like this. Word up. Uh, Thank you, Gatornade. Um, that song's called Groom Cake. I think I like that song a lot because I actually didn't want to put a lot of my vocals on the mixtape. So that was the first song that I made for the mixtape that I sang on. And the title of the song comes from some joke that my friend had with me about weddings and how sometimes if the groom doesn't like the cake that the bride has made for him, he'll have his own special cake made called a groom cake. But then I made the lyric completely irrelevant from the title of the song, being about unrequited love. So I do really like that song a lot. It represented a pretty big decision on my end pertaining to that mixtape to actually add vocals to it. And then if you listen to the mixtape, there are a lot of other songs that I made after that one that did also include vocals. There's another song on the mixtape called Button Willow. I love Button Willow for a lot of reasons. Button Willow was the first time that I used a specific technique, which was taking an entirely produced song and chopping up that whole produced song, warping it, and then making that song the basis or a beat of a new song. Button Willow is a sample of my song Embrace. For those of you that have heard a lot of my music, I have a song called Embrace that goes like that. No. It goes like Anyways, it was a song that I wrote with another artist by the name of Celadon City, which later changed their name to Academy Garden, yada yada yada. I ended up taking that song, Embrace, and sampling it to make Button Willow. And so I love Button Willow because it was the first time that I was successfully able to do that. I had attempted it a few times before, but not to any success. Success being a favorable sound to me. So I love Button Willow for that reason. Button Willow gets its name from a rest stop that I actually got stranded at between Los Angeles and San Francisco. There's a really small town in like Central California called Button Willow. That's where the song came from. Cause, is that you? Cause says Waiting and Daiso are also very good. Cause is naming songs off of my EP called The House of Omni EP, um, which is what Embrace is from. I'll do a third one just because rule of threes, right? What's the third song from West Stream that I do like that I did make? Kiwi is a really big one. I don't. Kiwi comes from this song. Goodbye, Sam. Congratulations again on your release. So that song had existed in one shape or form or another under the name of Traveling Boy. It was a Instagram and Twitter video that I put up when I was just putting out videos like every week. And that one was called Traveling Boy. Um, Sorry, that one was called Traveling Boy. And later on, I ended up fleshing out the song while I was being visited by a friend of mine named Kiwi. So I ended up naming the song after her because she did actually inspire a lot of the changes that ended up happening in the song. The song has no beat, but then I ended up doing a percussion beat with just my mouth, just going ka-ch, 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 and I built the song around that. And the reason I did that is because, which is even more obscure. Okay, so some of you guys might know the song. Oh, goodbye, Cyber. Enjoy the rest of your workday. Hope to see you in a future stream. Some of you guys might know the song Summertime by Mongo Jerry. In the summertime when the weather is hot, you can jump right in and touch the sun. It's a really, really fun song. But that song starts with mouth percussion. So that's a song that I like. But there's a movie called Wedding Crashers in which, Jesus Christ, this is. I didn't realize how ridiculous this was until I had to say it out loud. In the movie Wedding Crashers, there is a scene where Owen Wilson and Rachel McAdams are walking along a beach, but it's from an island. It's like in an island. It doesn't really matter where they are, but they're walking in proximity to a large body of water, and they're just messing around. It's a very cute thing, whatever. When Kiwi was visiting, we actually went to a beach, and we're hanging out. And after Kiwi left, those two memories, like that scene in that movie and my memory walking on the beach with Kiwi, were kind of linked. So I ended up putting that in the song that I made for her. So that is where the inspiration for Kiwi came from, and that's why I like that song so much. So Neobo, thank you by the way for the Instagram follow. But Neobo, that is where the inspiration for Kiwi came from, and that's also why it's hard for me to choose a favorite amongst the Lush Dream songs. They're all just very, very significant to me for a plethora of different reasons. I feel like I was on something right before I answered that question, but I can't remember. I think I was just talking about how I don't know whether or not I'm going to play the new Hollow Knight game or when. There it is. What's that now? Ooh, I do like that. I do like that. Turns out. Turns out I like that. Ooh. Wow. You know what? I think that's the same as the other thing. I think that's the same as. It is. Oh my god. Okay, I just found something cool. Okay. So it is. Yeah. Whoa. Okay. All right. I need to go back to Rose Sound, I guess. Oh, holy crap! You ever hear? Well, you ever? Well, this is maybe more specific to music, but if there's any artists in the stream, which I know there are, maybe this can be relatable to specifically your art. Um, but I feel like I feel like sometimes you'll see something in art. Maybe you'll see something in animation. Maybe you'll see something in a drawing, or you'll hear something in a song. You'll see something in a movie. You'll at some point consume something in an artistic form, and you'll think, "Wow, that's really cool." And then maybe later on in life, or during that time in life, you're also in art. You're making art, and you accidentally stumble upon the thing, or maybe intentionally stumble upon the thing, or you do a thing that you've always seen or heard or perceived in other art, but didn't know how it was made. And then suddenly you see it, and you're like, "That's what they're doing. That's how they're doing that thing." That just happened to me because I've heard that. I've heard like this sound. I've heard these chords, and I didn't really know how to find them. I didn't really know what people were doing in order to make that sound. But in this descending, uh, in this descending progression, wait, oh, I hear it. I hear it now. Wow, that's so good. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use the heck out of that. Anyways, I missed some stuff in the chat. I don't know what you guys were talking about, and I apologize for that. It was very unattentive of me, but that was something that I messed up. I wasn't trying to do that. That was a mistake. What I was trying to do, and it's a very very subtle difference. I was trying to do this, but this and this are different, very very slightly different. And the second one is something that I didn't know how to do until just now. Nonsense, nonsense. Kaz says any anatomy problems that I'm still feeling. Oh my god, what? Oh, I must have missed a whole world of chat stuff. Ian says it's not much, but very recently getting into music production. And when I played Minecraft, I accidentally on piano. I laughed so hard. Oh, Gator Nate, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's one for one the thing that I'm talking about. There's so many times where I stumble upon a melody and I'm like, oh, that's what they were doing. Or I'll play a specific chord progression or a non-specific chord progression and I'm like, oh wait, I think that's the chord progression from that one song. Even this song, I talked about this a while ago on a stream because this is a song that I'm making right now, and it goes. Uh, well, first I'll tell you what I was trying to play. I was trying to play Shoto Clone, which is a song of mine from Daydream that goes. That's the entire chord progression. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. So, I messed up playing that chord progression, and instead of going, my finger slipped from here to here, and I went, and I was like, whoa, that's super wrong, but there's also a very pretty chord after playing this one. And my brain finished that chord progression. I was like, after it should go, ba, 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 ba. So, and I swear that's from something. I swear that I've heard that in a song, maybe a long time ago. Anyways, that happens a lot. That happens a lot in music. It does sound familiar, doesn't it, Sarah? Bum, bum, ba, ba, da, ba, da, da, da. I hear the melody too, but I think that's just me doing extra work. don't at all sound like my chords. I feel like my chords do have a sound, and since I've been experimenting with slightly different chords lately, hearing my own chords, or rather hearing the type of chords that I would typically play, they kind of jump out at me. Sometimes in a pleasantly familiar way. Sometimes in like kind of a bad way. Like I'm like, these are the chords that are easy for me. I don't want to play these chords. I want to do something else. Any advice for getting into music production? I currently want to do it as a hobby, says Hank. Hello, Hank Anderson. Welcome to the YouTube stream. Haven't seen you in here before, so thank you for taking the time out of your day or evening. As far as advice on getting into music production, well, music production as a whole, especially modern music production, Hank, takes place in DAWs. Um, hold on, Hank. Thank you, Saria, for being on the stream. I hope you have a good day at the rest of your job, however long the remainder of your workday lasts. I hope it's good. Thank you for making the time for the stream. I appreciate it. Hank. There are DAWs, right? DAW, Digital Audio Workstation. Now that's me just hopefully guessing at the right words that acronym stands for. Digital Audio Workstation sounds like it can't be anything else, so we're gonna pretend that that's right. It's a digital audio workstation. Now, there's a range of these, right? Logic, Reason, Ableton, FL Studio. There's a lot. I'm not gonna list all of them right now, but the first thing that you would have to do, Hank, is decide which one of these you want to use. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, Hank. They're all pretty much the same thing. It's kind of like going into a store and trying to choose a brand of pencil to get into drawing. Really, at the core of it, as long as you're not using the cheapest pencil on the market, you should be able to get the job done, right? It's not going to hold you back skill-wise. Like, you're trying to develop skill. We're not trying to develop good gear or top-tier, top-level gear. So I'm going to tell you at the very top of what I'm about to say, Hank, that the DAW that you're using does not matter. Just pick one. Please do not get option or decision paralysis trying to decide which DAW to use. People are going to try to sway you one way or another, say that one's bad, one's good, one's for amateurs, one's for professionals. At the end of the day, just pick one, because the more time you spend trying to decide is time that you could spend, developing skill and getting good at one of them. So I won't get into all the different DAWs, but you're going to want to choose a DAW and get that DAW. Maybe use like a free trial for one. Some of them I know have free trials. Or use a, hold on, Hank. Cyber's back for a second to ask, in Shoto Clone, when you're saying the lyrics, what made you decide to do the regular beeping sound? It sounds like a race start sound. That beeping sound was inspired by, if you play DDR, there's a DDR song called Healing Vision. It might be one of the remixes to Healing Vision, but there's two versions of Healing Vision in DDR. It's either the original or the remix that has a beep that comes in when the drums come back in, and it kind of left a mark on me as a kid, where it was just, to me, it was this really cool thing that it was very quiet, but it kind of sat on top of the mix, where it was like this like beeping. It kind of induced panicking, because that's when the arrows got kind of complex. So I took that and used the beep for Shoto Clone. Not the same beep. I just made my own beep for Shoto Clone when the drums pick up. The angelic mix. Oh, good. Cyber remembers. So yeah, that's where the inspiration for the beeping sound came from. That's why I used it. I just played too much DDR as a kid, and it's really hard to get rid of that inspiration. Back to you, Hank. You're gonna want to pick a DAW and then spend time in it. I mean, that sounds obvious, but like sometimes people will get a DAW and they'll use it maybe for a few days or a few weeks, and they'll decide this is too difficult, it's too complex. I don't want to do this anymore. This is boring. But for you, you said you're going to be doing this as a hobby. And that's perfect. That's such a good attitude to go in with it. Because really, there are no expectations. It's like you're just trying to do something. You're trying to maybe make some music. And I guarantee you that if you get into one of these DAWs and you spend an amount of hours in it and maybe consume resources, I don't know if it's YouTube tutorials or if you want to ask me questions or for advice, or your friends, using your resources, you're unstoppable. Nothing's going to stop you from getting good at music production, because you don't need gear. You don't need, like, I have keyboards, I have synthesizers, I have all these things. All that's extra. You don't need that. All you need is a computer that runs decently fast, and you need a DAW, and, play around in that space for a while. But it's very fun. It's very fun, or it can be, and I'm very excited for you if this is exactly where you're going or something particular that you end up pursuing after asking this question. But my advice to you would be to pick a DAW as quick as possible. Try not to get held up with option paralysis. It's a very real thing. And if you start reading things online, I mean, this can happen to me. Sometimes when I want to get, oh my God, I got a new bed, right? I just got a new bed a couple months ago. I don't know. And, wow, was it horrible. I've only owned one bed my entire life until I got this one. And when I went into the mattress store, I was asked all these questions about, am I a side sleeper? Am I a back sleeper? Do I like things firm, medium? Am I a Tempur-Pedic person? Do I like coil springs? Do I need a hybrid of the two where it's coils but it's also some memory foam? So many questions. Questions I didn't have the answers to. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll look up online, I'll look at some reviews. And then, of course, the reviews are like, somebody's like, hey, I slept on this thing once and I broke my back. While somebody else is like, I would never trade this thing for the world. I've been sleeping on it for 18 years and it still feels like new. I, I was suffering from option paralysis. I would even go into the store and I would lay on a bunch of beds and I wouldn't even trust my own body. I'm like, I don't know. This feels good right now, but is it going to feel good in 6 months? I don't know. My advice to you would be to not let that happen to you in music. Just do the thing. At the end of the day, all music tools are capable of making music, and whether you're using a guitar or a piano, or a live drum set or a digital drum set, or a MacBook or a PC, you're going to be able to make great music. And don't let anybody sway you or make you believe otherwise. It's not the gear, it's the people. I hope that that advice was in any way helpful. Hank, and I hope that if you do end up pursuing music as a hobby or even as a career path, I hope that it is something that brings you as much joy as it has brought me in recent years, or I mean, in even distant years. Should I learn music theory as well? I've only done art, so I don't know if I'm behind. Well, Hank, I've been making music for several years, and I only started paying attention to music theory about a month or two ago. So I do not think you need any music theory. You do need some form of passion or interest, I would say, because there are some things maybe that are going to be harder to understand musically without music theory. Things that like I don't maybe you just joined the stream, but towards hold on, pause on that, Hank. Cutest cucumber. That's a great username. Says any recommendations for a classical guitarist starting to learn keyboard, piano? Just buy a piano or keyboard. Don't buy a piano. Do not buy a piano. Buy a keyboard. Buy something cheap. However, and this answer that I'm about to give kind of goes with you, Cucumber, and Hank, because it's in regards to theory and learning something. So earlier in the stream, maybe neither one of you were in here to see or hear this, but I played this chord progression. I played. Now, is there a theoretical explanation for what I'm doing? Absolutely, probably, definitely so. Do I know what it is? No. Do I care what it is? Not really. Did I use it to find those chords? No, I didn't use theory to find those chords. I kind of just been playing by ear long enough that I've gotten good at harmony. I know what chords kind of look like. Do I know all the chords? No. Do I know what chord's supposed to come after one? No, not really. But I know what my ear's like. And I know that if I hit a chord, like say this one, and then I hit just a bunch of notes together, I'm like, that doesn't sound very good. I do a lot of trial and error of like choosing a bunch of notes, and then when I figure out one that kind of sounds good, maybe I'll move another note around in the bass to kind of get a richer sound. It's a lot of trial and error, and it's a lot of kind of playing things by ear. However, having been playing by ear for years now, I would be lying if I said that I didn't know roughly where I was going, right? When I'm playing a certain chord progression, for the most part, I kind of know what I can and can't do, but not because I know the theoretical reason for that, not because I'm playing in a specific mode or key to my own knowledge, but because I just have a lot of experience where I know what certain notes that sound good together look like next to each other. It's very, very visual and sound-wise. It's not a lot of theory and numbers and math and stuff like that. So, to you, cutest cumber, I said. To you, cutest cucumber. Advice for you when getting into piano or keyboard after playing guitar for so long. You have a leg up on anybody else maybe that I would be giving to advice to because you already can play an instrument very well. Just think about how you got into guitar and apply a lot of those same techniques to getting into keyboard. Keyboard and guitar are very similar in that they are not. They're both polyphonic, which means that both of them have the ability to play chords. Going from maybe guitar to playing saxophone or guitar to playing violin might be a little bit harder. But a lot of the same rules and theory, not only just in music, but in just practicing and grooming yourself on getting used to an instrument, are going to apply to piano the same way that they would for guitar. I hope that helps. I know it's very sparse and vague advice, Cucumber, but at the end of the day, I did get into this roughly off of the strength of my own passion. I didn't like take a lot of lessons. I didn't go to classes. I didn't look at YouTube tutorials. I didn't have books on it. I just had a keyboard and I had a lot of free time. And so, well, I didn't even have a lot of free time, but I had like 3 hours a day where I wasn't playing video games, where I wasn't going to school playing video games. So I don't have a lot of recommendations I can make as far as resources you can use to learn how to play piano. But now with the internet, I feel like we are flooded with resources, I would say. Back to you, Hank, just for a really quick, because now kind of off of keyboard, just on music production, you don't really need to know how to play any musical instrument to produce music, Hank. So for all what I was saying, don't take that to mean like, oh, maybe I should learn chords and learn melody and stuff like that if I'm going to be producing music. A lot of these things will come one at a time. And another thing to take into consideration, Hank, and after I say this, I will kind of jump off of this because this is a conversation that could easily last a whole other hour. But I will say, Hank, getting into music production, do not. I would say a common misconception about music production is that music production is one thing. You are a music producer, and that is what you are. Really, music production is about 10 things, right? Like, I produce music. I don't know how familiar you are with my music or with the videos that I put out, Hank, but I produce all my music. But when I say I produce all my music, that means that I come up with a chord progression, I come up with a melody, I come up with the rhythm, so I do a lot of drum programming. I mix my songs, so I have to mix and EQ them, and I master my songs. So I have to master the releases too. And then I promote my songs and release the songs. That's a little bit separate from production. But I will say, Hank, when you get into a DAW, whether it's Fruity Loops, Ableton, or anything, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of things. So a good way to keep yourself focused and try to stave off any type of discouragement or overwhelming like imposter syndrome is to remember that there are a million things that you can do in a DAW, and nobody is great at all of them. We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. I tend to be good at chords, right? And I'm not as good at drum programming. So if you listen to a lot of my music, especially the stuff off of Lush Stream, there will be very, very simple drums while the chords are doing a lot. Even if you look at the stuff that I've posted in my Instagram stories recently, which is the EP that I'm making right now, which is more of a disco house thing, the drums are always just kind of pretty simple, for me, house drums, while the chord progressions are like all over the place. Instead of having a simple like 3 chord progression where it's just which would be fine. There's plenty of songs with 3 chords or 2 chords or even 1 chord, and they're amazing. But since my strength or interest lies deep in chords, usually I will overflood my song with chords, interesting chords to me, while maybe other stuff might be lacking. I am not a vocalist by design, so a lot of my songs don't even have vocals. They're just instrumental songs. And when they do have vocals, they're mine, and they're pretty sparse, lyrically and melodically pretty sparse. So when you get into production, Hank, just remember that there's so many things, and Don't try to think of it as being good at production or being a good producer. Try instead to focus on a lot of the minutia within production and go, hey, I've kind of gotten really good at drum programming now. Or hey, I got pretty good at arranging drums now. And let that kind of float you over some of maybe the things that you're not so good at while you grow at those things gradually. Because I think too many people will get into a DAW or into production and they'll feel themselves failing at it instead of focusing on the things that they're actually thriving at in the production umbrella. Because again, a lot of people see production as one thing instead of a list of about 15, which is what it actually is. Oh my goodness, what a long answer to a pretty simple question. Again, I wish you luck on all of your. I love that chord progression. That's beautiful. It used to be, which is not that different. Yeah, to this. Oof, that second one is good. I'm sticking with that second one. Anyways, I was going to show you guys some projects that I had made. It's kind of something that I've started doing towards the end of the stream. I've built kind of a habit out of it, but we're already 7 minutes over. So I just don't think that I have the time to go over all of those songs. I do apologize, guys. But Hank and Cute as Cucumber did ask some really good questions, and I felt like those answers were necessary. So, what is left? What is left? Well, news is left. Guys, I do have two new bodies of work. One is called Quick Breath, the other one is called Ego Death. If you've heard my song, Not on My Watch, this is the song. It has Mia Gladstone in it. She's a friend of mine and a vocalist. That's on Quick Breath. I usually play vanilla in the streams, but I just got too sidetracked today to do it. So I didn't get to it, but vanilla is a very good song from my body of work called Ego Death. And both of those separate EPs are available on Bandcamp, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Music, Amazon MP3. Ooh, I put it to them out of order. And you know what's funny? Why I set them out of order is because out of the corner of my eye, there's been a crow sitting like really close to my windowsill, and birds are very distracting for me, especially in this cul-de-sac. I apologize for that. It was raining outside, and my Rolex was exposed to the elements. I put my hand in my pockets and said, "Wow, not on my watch." Yeah, you keep that baby safe. I'm really glad YouTube recommended me the stream. It's nice talking to you all, says Gatornade. Thank you, Gatornade. I'm glad it recommended you the stream as well. All my music is available on Bandcamp, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Music, Google Play Music, iTunes, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Groove, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. There we go. Got it. Also, I have some shirts coming out this year, as well as some stickers as far as merch goes. And as far as shows, I'm not really playing anything that I'm allowed to talk about right now, but there are some shows coming up this year as well. I'm trying to get out of LA as well. So I'm going to be playing some shows in LA because this is where I live. But I'm probably going to be playing some stuff on the East Coast as well this year. So just a heads up for that. As far as streams, I do stream here every weekday morning at 9 a.m. This was my 9 a.m. stream. The stream is only supposed to last an hour, but we did go about 10 minutes over today, so it's about 10:10. But if you ever are wondering if there's a stream happening, there is. And if you're ever wondering when it happens, it's 9 a.m. Unless it's a weekend, guys. I don't stream on the weekends. Hank says come to Boston. Last time I went out there, I wanted to play in Boston. I played in Cambridge at a place called... I'm looking for the poster. I hung it up on my wall. I can't remember, but it was across the street from a Dunkin' Donuts, which I know doesn't help you because those things are everywhere out there. It was really close to Harvard, if that helps. Not Middle East. Not Middle East. It was like a theater. Something theater. I played with Slow Magic. Crap. The Sinclair. The Sinclair. It's called the Sinclair. I can see it now on my poster. Anyways, that was the last time I was out there. I would love to come back. Just haven't had the opportunity. Plus, nobody's booking me on the East Coast right now. Maybe people hate me out there now. Anyways, this song is called Hush Hour. I wrote it when I was abroad last year. I always play at the end of the streams because it's very short. Was the Slow Magic Show. It was me, Curio, and Slow Magic. That was the lineup. That was a good show. I met this. I don't want to get into it, but I met somebody that I haven't seen since, and it's really sad. I have this really bad habit, good habit, I guess, depending on, like, the thing is, like, when I play shows, I end up getting, like, really, really close to some, like, sometimes it's not even my own fans. Sometimes it's like a fan of somebody that I'm touring with. I end up making really good friends with them and like getting food with them before the show, and then hanging out with them after the show. And then after I leave, like following them on like Instagram or something, and then like talking to them for a while. And then like, of course, you don't keep talking to this person because as time goes by, maybe you don't go back to that city or whatever, and then you don't end up seeing them again. And then I get really sad, like I've lost a friend. And I just do that over and over and over. I've done that in like every city that I've ever played in. I feel like there's a way to behave. I'm not gonna say exactly who. But a really close friend of mine who I also have toured with and played some shows with has the exact opposite approach to performing live. When they perform live, they're in the green room the entire time because they want to like build anticipation. And so the first time the entire crowd sees them is when they step out on stage, you know, in their nice outfit, and everybody's like, oh, they're here. They perform their show, and then it's like they go backstage again for a while, and then they'll come out for a little while to like meet and greet people. And I think that is important because it what's the word? It preserves a kind of attitude and mystique surrounding you, so people appreciate you more because they only got to see you for a little while. People appreciate you more because they didn't get a chance to get tired of you, I guess. And I have the exact opposite approach of like before I perform a show, I'm just like hanging out in the crowd and like walking around like drinking water and like eating snacks. And then after the show, I'm like if there's people out front of the venue, I'm just like talking and hanging out with them and like taking stupid videos with them, and then like going to IHOP or something, and then following them on Instagram. It's like really, I don't know, the complete opposite. And I don't know which one is better. Anywho, I'm going to end this stream because I already did play Hush Hour. Thank you everybody for being respectful to me and polite to each other. It matters a lot. Even if you don't think you're being particularly polite, you are. By YouTube standards, you guys are freaking angels, pretty much. And thank you, Hank, and for the other people that were in for the first time today, the new people. Gatornade, thank you for being here. Oh, hold on. Cyber says, when you spend time with people for a few weeks at a time and never see them again, it can easily really get into feels. Yeah, I feel that. You're welcome, Mary. Thank you for being in the stream. Thank you for being a good cook. I don't know why I'm thanking you for that. I don't get to eat the food. Somebody, I hope, does. I'm thanking you on their behalf if they haven't recently. But, I'll see you guys here maybe tomorrow. It is Wednesday, so tomorrow there's going to be a Thursday morning stream at 9 a.m. If I don't see you then, just enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Abba.